There are what could be described as significant developments now in this George Zimmerman murder trial. Moments ago, one of the prosecution's key witnesses testified about what he saw and heard the night Trayvon Martin died. Now, the state attorney's playing his 911 call. The gentleman's name is John Good. You'll hear from him in a moment. That he placed to police that night in February, more than a year ago. Listen here.
However many there were. Okay. And the person on the bottom was laying flat?
Correct.
Could you tell if he was on his back or not?
He was on his back.
He was on his back. At this point, what's the person on the back wearing? I'm sorry, the person on the top whose back you can see wearing?
It was the same person that was on the top when they were T-shaped to the sidewalk.
Okay, so they did
dark
not.
colors.
I'm sorry. They did not change positions, did they?
No. I didn't state the entire thing was 2 seconds, no.
Let's do that then. The entire time that you were actually watching what was going on?
8 to 10 seconds,
8 to 10 seconds.
Yes.
And that's when you had your focus specifically on what turned out to be, as we now know, Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, right?
Correct.
You didn't know it then, but now we know who they were.
Yes.
So 8 to 10 seconds you were watching them do whatever was happening?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Like, it was only one person. Then I could see a second person, and it looked more of just a tussle. And that's when I thought it got serious, when it moved up to the sidewalk and he was more in a straddle position and arm movements were going downward. But I couldn't 100% say those were actually strikes or if they were just arm movement going downward. As soon as I saw the movement going downward, that's when I turned around and went back inside.
That's when you knew it was very serious?
Yes. It looked like it was getting serious and it wasn't just someone playing around.
And that's when you can hear George Zimmerman screaming for help, right?
Incorrect.
What was it? When was it?
That was in the beginning when I finally saw someone under the person on top.
Wow, is John Good still on the stand right now? We'll play that 911 call in a moment. Steve Kardian is a former New York City chief investigator, former New York police sergeant, the director of DefendUniversity.com. Anne-Marie McAvoy, former federal prosecutor, with us just 45 minutes ago. You went off to the green room to listen to more. I want to begin with you because you are a prosecutor. What did John Good do to this case in the last 45 minutes?
Well, this was devastating for the prosecution. He came straight out and said that the person wearing the black or in the dark outfit was on top the entire time. He saw them on the grass, he then saw them on the sidewalk, same person on top, and it's Trayvon Martin. So, and then he describes the position that Trayvon Martin is on top of Zimmerman in a position that could be very deadly to him. And he sees downward motion from the person on top, who now we know is Trayvon Martin. And he also says that he hears somebody crying for help, and that although he says it's not when they're on the sidewalk, he said it's the person who was originally on the bottom, and he says that remains Zimmerman both on the sidewalk and in the grass.
So he testified under cross-examination that the cries for help that he heard were from George Zimmerman.
Right. It's not completely clear yet. I think that my guess is the cross will pull that out a little bit more. But he says it's the person who was initially, when he first saw them in the grass, it's the person who was on bottom, and that's the same person he says was on the bottom all the time.
Let me bring in Steve, because you have this DefendUniversity.com website. This is your business.
Yes.
What did you take away from this testimony?
Well, Bill, I'm an early American Gracie Jiu-Jitsu black belt. They wrote the book on this position. I also teach it to law enforcement. When Trayvon was mounted on top of him, raining down blows, it's virtually indefensible. He can reach Zimmerman, Zimmerman can't reach him, and the blows, because his head is on the ground, he can't absorb. In other words, a boxer would absorb it. He's not able, and it causes a lot of
this witness described this hold?
He did.
How would he know about it?
Watching MMA. He referred to it as an MMA position, which he likely saw in the UFC.
And what is that position? You get on top, you hold his arms down, what do you do?
No, you don't have to hold his arms down. You're straddled on his hips. He can't move. He's pinned. You rain down blows. He has that rotational direction that he could force those blows, and you could cause a lot of damage. Again, you can't absorb it. Your head is stuck, and the damage is being caused between here and here. There's no way for the head to go.
So remember now, you've got this piece of evidence that will come in at some point from the defense that will show what the wounds on the back of George Zimmerman's head. And did he have a broken nose? Is that confirmed?
I believe that he had a broken nose. The injuries that he displayed with the facial injuries and the head injuries would be consistent with either ground and pound, like we explained, or banging the head on the ground. But the frontal injuries are definitely blows being rained down.
What's interesting about that is during the opening statement, Zimmerman's attorneys went to great length to tell the jurors that, he worked out in a gym some time ago, but wasn't a very good athlete. How does that come back now?
I look at him as a 30-year police officer, 35-year martial artist, and I see a soft man, a soft person, not very tough, not very physical at all.
Anne-Marie McAvoy, thanks. And Steve Kardian, thanks to you as well.
Thank you.